Hello, testing. Is this thing on? Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Shady Monkey Show. Yo, welcome to the Shady Monkey Show. We have a very special guest today, Eric Becker or Becker or Baker, depending on where you're from. Right? I mean, you were explaining to me outside how to say your last name.
Yeah, hi, Shady. So that depends. So French, we say Becker.
Like Baker, like B-A.
Yeah, but we have like A, like, an R at the end, like the air, the air you breathe. So Becker.
Becker.
Yeah.
This is a French name?
German.
It's a German name.
Yeah.
Also, big shout out to our sponsor, Oriental Distilling Co. Makes the best gin in China. We're going to be... I know you're not a big gin person, whiskey and beer.
Then it will be
or red wine, if you're true French coming
definitely.
out. But this is easy.
Good test.
We'll go easy.
Yeah.
This is an easy
if I
gin.
like it, it's definitely good.
So it's got a beautiful color too. So you're from France, obviously, with your thick French accent.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I grew up in France, but family is mixed.
Yeah, there you go, sir. If you want lime or lemon, help yourself to a lemon.
I will try with that first, and now I'll add something.
Cool, man. Cheers. Thanks you for coming.
Thanks, Jody. Thanks for inviting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Drinkable, yeah.
Drinkable?
Yeah.
If you want more tonic or whatever.
No, so far so good, yeah.
I'm trying to pour light. I used to like pour super heavy. It's good to learn.
Start slowly, yeah.
It's good to learn.
No, I'm good. Is raspberries.
It's delicious. I mean, just smell it. Just all you smell it. I mean, now it smells like gin, but I don't know if you can smell the raspberry.
You smell it.
Yeah,
you got it. Yeah.
So we use fresh raspberries.
Yeah, no, raspberry is good.
So it's a good one.
I think I will try one without the lemon, and later I will just do.
It's personal choice,
I like it.
I'm a big lemon fan, so I like that fresh.
I like to.
That fresh.
But always like always test first the original things, and then after I will.
You're a classics guy.
Yeah. Maybe German side.
It's maybe German side. So half your family is German? Half your family is French, or what's the history behind there?
So actually, the full family is French, right? Just the thing is, like, when you come down, like a long time ago, my father went down the tree family for...
What does that mean, down the tree?
I mean...
Like the family tree?
Yeah, he make the family tree as down as possible, right? And he went to, like, 16th century or something. And... Then the thing is, my family living
16th century is when the German blood
we
came in.
As German, yeah. At this time, our ancestors were German.
Okay.
But the thing is, he's on the border.
So border of France and Germany.
So he was just on the side of Germany.
So like out his backyard was Germany and his home was France.
No, it was like fully Germany, but it's just in the valley. And then after, I don't know, like 1 or 2 generations later, the border moves. So then they were like in France. And sometimes they were, like you said, the home was in Germany and the backyard in France, and contrary, something like this. And after the family spread, but they never spread very far, is like, like a few valleys around.
Right.
So then they were like, some were German, while the other one were French, but they're the same families, just that. And sometimes the field also, because they were farmers also. So then one field is in France side and the other one German. They couldn't go to Harvard there beside having a visa, because sometimes it wasn't Europe at that time.
Right.
So they have to get a visa just to go to farm
farm the land on land.
Farm the land on the other side. So that's crazy.
Yeah, I think European history is so cool and so rich. Like compared to, I grew up in America. Yeah. We don't really have that kind of deep history.
Depending how far it goes. Right, Native American, they have also a long history.
Right. If you go into that aspect, which most people don't, the Native Americans have super long history. that nobody knows about.
They didn't have written, right? Nothing. It's just oral history. What they have, right? There's no proof, written proof or something.
They have like hieroglyphics that, or I guess is that what you called them?
Hieroglyphic. Or writing.
Is that what you write? What's the word on the cave and stuff like that? Yeah, the Native Americans are.
Oh, they did that.
The famous for.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, like where we grew up, there was all kinds of like caves and stuff like that where they drew stories and.
I didn't know.
All kinds of stuff. But when you grow up in the States, you don't really learn about the Native American history like the arrival of the colonizers, of the Europeans.
Because it wasn't your country.
So it wasn't our country. Yeah. But I know that they have like in Mexico, right? Mexico has some of the biggest pyramids in the world. Yep. There's also like sites like that in the U.S. that nobody talks about, and a lot of them were destroyed. So
I guess like more like New Mexico, like the south of U.S. Right?
Just
but not the north.
All over. I mean, America is such a big piece of land.
Yeah.
So,
definitely, yeah.
But I think when people started colonizing it, they just kind of plowed through everything and whitewashed it, you could say.
Yeah, I mean, we did the same, but not in Europe. I mean, we changed it in Africa, in South Asia. I mean, your ancestors are ours, right?
Yeah, I'm a big mix. My mix is crazy. Like I got my great grandmother. She is from France.
Oh, nice.
So,
do you know where from, or just
France?
Paris. Okay.
So,
Parisian.
And her father was at that time like a famous. This was like just pre World War II, and he was like a famous French author. Wrote some books and stuff like that. Oh, she comes from like a
all these happen. Right?
Maybe it runs in the family.
Yeah, you jump a generation or two, and then you are right.
So, well, actually, my dad he's in the book business too, in a different
family story then.
So, but my grandmother's this French grandmother's on my mother's side. So she ended up marrying, and my dad's background is like Irish, maybe some German. But definitely there's the Irish.
Okay.
If you go down the family tree, you can find it. My mom is like Italian and this French.
Okay.
Native American.
Father side north, mother side south.
Well, so here's the thing: is that my French grandmother, she married an American soldier after the war. Basically, they met. He knocked her up. Saw this cute little French girl.
Yeah, sure.
Dragged her over to the U.S. and then he left her. So she was like alone in the U.S. with no money, 2 kids, and didn't speak English. Right after World War II.
Yeah,
so
it was a case of many.
I think it happened a lot.
Yeah,
like
we heard the story that the government. I wanted to say German government, but U.S. government convinced the soldiers to go to fight for the French girls.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's like one of the selling points on the poster.
I think it
help your country.
They were like
get a French girl.
I don't remember if where I saw that, but it was something like still in a museum or something. It wasn't like on internet at this time, and like some posters, some flyers about war, unroll yourself and things like this. And on the side, you have some also flyer, how beautiful are the European women and things like this, and some word about this. Right. It was a small flyer, like someone just printed out personally just to push, this happening. Maybe it's not from the government, but something like it was official. I mean, it was given with this flyer, the army flyer. So I don't know if it's really true. We should
I believe it.
Check fact this, but I think he's kind of right.
Yeah, French girls are beautiful. So
I cannot say the contrary.
So, but yeah, so she was like, they were living in like a nice neighborhood, and her father, my grandmother's father, he was kind of like a socialite, and didn't really take care of his kid. Mm-hmm. He was busy writing and being an artist, and mingling with society or whatever artists do, you know. And then it was her grandfather that took care of her. And when the war started, the grandfather was like, everyone was like leaving the city and trying to run somewhere else. And the grandfather was like, no, we're staying right here. You know, we're not going to leave our house. And they stayed. And the Germans took over Paris. I think even like the SS moved next door. They made like that place or that building like one of their outposts.
Well, it makes sense. If you're just right, that means he was on a nice place. And usually SS always choose like the nicest place in Paris. So makes sense. Yeah.
And so like what she would have to do is like she said that they like were courteous to them. I'm sure as courteous as war times can be, but like they would go out every day and like work the fields and grow stuff for, you know, the Germans. And then
I mean, it's not because I have both origins that I will say that German were only good, but the thing is, for sure, there were some people like good into the army, right? Even SS, they just believe in what they are doing, but I'm sure there were some still good people there and saying that, okay, I'm here, I do my duty, but if I can help on the side or still be good, I will do that.
Sure.
For kind of balance of the...
Well, I mean, there's definitely like demons and evil in the world, but at the same time, most people have, you know, humanity inside of them.
Yeah.
You know, even during wartime.
Yeah.
You know.
I don't believe that you can, unless you're a monster, you cannot do atrocities all day long. You have to find kind of balance or something, you know, just to say, okay, I'm not the monster, right? I still have some good things, some happiness. You need happiness. If you are not happy, I mean, okay, that's the point of the monster, right? You are happy when you know, destroy people. But I don't think everyone is a monster. Right? So even SS, whatever we think about.
They all ran away when the Americans showed up. And one of those soldiers snatched her up. She was young, too. She was just a teenager. So, like, she's still alive. She's, like 94, something like that right now.
Oh.
My great-grandmother. So, right now I have, like, 5 generations alive in my family. My great-grandmother, my grandmother, my mother, me, and then my kids. So.
Oh, okay.
From 3 to 94.
Okay, as we are only 3 now. We lost the last one, the 4th generation, my grandparents actually, just this year, earlier, COVID. They were like 93.
Also old?
Yeah.
Must be that cheese and that red wine diet. My grandmother always used to love drinking red wine and white wine.
My grandpa was more like drinking 2 things. The rosé.
Rosé is what?
Yeah, the pink wine.
No. Oh, yeah, my grandmother drank the rosé too, yes.
Rosé, Listel, his famous brand. And the other thing is blonde German beer.
Oh, okay. My grandmother wasn't so much of a beer.
Before dying, he just asked for a sip of beer.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That was like his last request?
Yeah, just last one. After a few minutes, he just passed.
Wow.
Yeah.
And cheers to that.
But he just asked.
We'll have to drink some German blonde beer. Right, blonde beer, you said?
Yeah, blonde beer. Yeah.
We'll drink some of that.
It wasn't on dark ones. Listel, the rosé is also very clear. Almost not as pink as this, but I kind of pink this.
Yeah, like once without all the water and the tonic.
Because that is really pinkish, like girly one.
Very French, right?
Yeah, I mean this is more French. I feel this is more like pinkish red.
Yeah, well, that's a little bit of family history. Let's talk about you. So, at some point in your life, you were in France.
Yeah,
and then
I was born there.
And you were born there, and then you decide to come over to the East. What was like the initial reason, purpose that you? How'd you end up in China? I guess what I'm asking.
Yeah. Because now we are in China. So, short story is just I was in France, my business. I never planned to go China. Never. I mean,
doing what kind of business?
Architect.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're an architect before?
Yeah. So architect, I was on my own, and I just like making.
Like you went to like university for architecture
in Marseille. Yeah.
Wow.
And the thing is, I was on my own, and one day, just like my best friend from university, from the architecture university, just call me and say, I have a huge project. I cannot handle myself. I need your help. And I say, okay, give me a little bit time. And the day after, I say, okay, I'm coming.
So he was in China.
Yeah, he was in China.
Doing some architectural project?
Yeah, but in Africa. That's the funniest thing.
Oh, so he was working for a Chinese company.
Yes, but for...
Building a project in Africa.
Yes.
But he was based in China.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean,
because their main business was like prefab. So they build the building here first, and then they ship it there, and they mount it there. So
sure.
Just that. So
that kind of like the container houses or something like that.
Yeah, kind of this. And it was usually for governments or for emergencies things, but this time it was for the Football Cup of Africa. So they were very tight schedule, and they have to build like hotels.
They need housing for the athletes.
And
thousands of people that
they weren't ready.
Right, they were definitely not ready. Right.
So then he called me, and then I was like, okay, let me check the statement of all my projects, if I can give up it, or stop it at the right time, or give to someone to fill it. But actually, I was like in good timing that I was at the end of two different projects, and I just needed 1 month to finish it, and it was fine. So I say, okay, 1 month I can do it, but not earlier than that. I say, okay, deal. And when I finish, like 1 month later, he sent me a mail. So here is your plane ticket. You need to still make like an interview or something just to confirm everything with the big boss. So he sent me a plane ticket for Hong Kong, and the return ticket just 23 hours later.
Mm-hmm.
So it just like Paris, Hong Kong, 23 hour, Hong Kong, Paris.
Now the return ticket was if the boss didn't want to hire you, or you were just flying for the interview?
Just flying for the interview because he wanted a face-to-face.
Oh, I see.
Right. Because at this time, there were no
So you were not packed.
No thing like this, right? So
you were not packed for moving. You were just packing.
Yeah, no. 1 month, it was just this because the thing is, if the interview was right, then I will go right away to Africa for their project. I will even not pass by China.
Oh, wow.
Because I have to, that's where they needed me. Right.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So
that didn't happen.
Yeah. And so the thing is, I just went there to Hong Kong. The first time I traveled out of France. I never traveled out of France before. Or just like the neighboring country like Germany, Italy or something. That's okay. But never out of Europe.
Out of Eurozone?
Yes. It's the first time and just for 23 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you were like, get to Hong Kong. And what year was this?
It was in 2011 November, if I believe. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I went to Africa. And
so you actually made it to Africa?
Yeah. And after the thing is, so I get hired.
Okay.
And after I went to Africa. And then after I keep going like China, Africa, always between like for 5 years almost. So I spent like half time in Africa, half time in China.
Which country?
Plenty country.
Because the World Cup was in a bunch of different African countries.
So at this time, the World Cup was in Gabon.
Okay. Only in one place, one country.
It was Gabon and Guinea.
Okay.
Two countries, right? So we did this project first there, and after we moved for different other projects, and we had different projects like Chad, Tunisia, after. Morocco, after Mali, many other countries like this. And after a while, we even moved to Middle East.
Oh, wow.
And Dubai, because they set up like a branch in Middle East, in Dubai, like many architects actually now doing. And from there, they got one project, and it's the first time, it's the first time that I really, hesitate to go to check this project. It was in Iraq.
Oh, really?
North Iraq. In
North Iraq is near Iran?
Yeah. It was just the north one. Is Kurdistan of Iraq. You know, the north part that is nearby the Kurdistan of Turkey and or Syria, and Iran.
Right.
And there actually they're speaking mostly what the name again? Iran language. I just pop up.
Yeah, I don't know too.
I don't remember. I used to know it, but anyway. And the first time I really hesitated. I have to talk to the boss and just to be sure that everything is fine there.
Everything is safe.
I mean, you go, you know,
so
the war just finished, right?
Right.
It was like in 2013 or 2014. So we just, you know, it was just like kind of safe according to the medias, right? And I had a big talk with the boss before, because the other ones, they didn't want to go there.
Right.
I was the guy, you know, who just throw away to a different project and going to Egypt and things like this.
Right.
But
nobody wanted to go to Iraq.
it's not nobody. It's just because the other one, my best friend actually is the one that he was the architect in chief. So that's the one who managed all the projects and things like this. And he was in another project for Egypt, a very big one for the government. So he couldn't waste spare time for this project, but it was still possible to be a big one. So then they sent me, right? So, and I accept, because I was like Mosul, and it's very historical city, also interesting for architecture and stuff like this. I wanted to see it from my eyes, because I'm not sure that later it will be anything you can remains there, right? Because I was like, maybe when US will quit, then will be the war there, they will destroy everything, and maybe it's the last chance I had as architect to see that. Right. So then I went there. And I think it was the most impressive airport ever I passed by.
Impressive in what way? Like
safety. I mean, it was a war airport. There is like 3 rings of enclosure and everything, like as far as your eye can see, there is nothing but like lands, no man lands, and enclosure all around.
So it's like big wall, and then
walls,
and then another big wall,
barbed wires and synagogues all around.
And it was this airport
tower,
was
you know, everywhere. It's like you are in jail.
Controlled by the Americans.
Yeah, definitely. All Americans. You can see that the flag there. And to go out, that was kind of easy. But when I have to get back, you pass this control points, checkpoints, and things like this. At some point, you have to change cars. You cannot take the car from city, the first checkpoint.
Also, it's like you have to take an inside car to get close to the...
So you get like your own car, limousine or something. You bring you to the first checkpoint.
That
then
car
they get
take
out
off.
of the checkpoint. They check everything possible. Even actually, you don't change the car. This is the second checkpoint. The first checkpoint, they check the car. Like, really, they check completely the car.
Yeah, for bombs or for whatever.
Everything crazy. And then after you go to the second checkpoint, then you take a small bus to go to the third checkpoint. And then from the third checkpoint, you can go finally to the airport.
Wow.
I mean, I get body checked like so many times, my luggage opened so many times just during these times. Yeah, it wasn't like kind of fast, right? It was like a little hour or something, and then it's done. I mean, when you pass the normal airport, you also pass like 1 hour or something, but you pass only check.
One checkpoint.
There it was 3.
Right.
Right? 3 of them. And as far you could see, nothing. And the thing is, what impressed me also is like they really make a land walk, making some hills just to protect the planes. You know, like this from outside, you can never see, you could just see the tail of the plane, just top of it from outside.
Oh, so like when the plane's like taking off and stuff like that, you couldn't see it, but then finally
all around the airport, they were like hills, like
so you couldn't see
just around it.
You couldn't see the planes from the land.
Yeah, and the thing is, before the hill, you cannot climb down the hill. So from the land, you couldn't see the airport. You have to like maybe some, how we say that?
Grenade launcher.
Yeah, something like this, just to make like a parable things. But direct flight, you couldn't.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it was very impressive.
So how much time did you spend in Iraq?
It was pretty short. I spent like 3 days, something like this. And I had one hotel. So I have one kind of bodyguard. I have like...
like an Iraqi bodyguard?
That's the funniest part, was not Iraqi, it was Kuwaiti.
Okay.
I mean, the guy that he was really well introduced into the army thing of the Kurdistan of Iraq, and also like a translator. And then after, just always with me, and one guy like who are introduced into the government, because we were dealing with the government there. And
the bodyguard was armed, gunned, and everything?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. I never saw that. And I didn't want to bother to ask.
That's the first thing I got to ask. Like, you have a gun? Let me see it.
No,
where can we go? Where can we go
guy
fire?
was like this, I was like
a big boy?
Yeah.
Very serious?
Yeah, definitely. And the first thing they tell me, you don't get out of the hotel. Whatever you want, you stay. Whatever happened to the hotel, you stay in your hotel.
Just
in
stay
your
there.
Bedroom. You even don't go to the hall. You stay into your room. The thing is, you drop me into Mosul, which is like a huge historical city. I mean, we learned that from university, right?
Right.
How you want me to stay in the bedroom?
That's the whole reason why you signed up for this job, right?
Yeah, no, but I wanted to see that. So I pushed them so hard. I wanted to see the heart of the city, the Citadel. I mean, that's famous. But I was unlucky. At that moment, the Citadel was closed. So we couldn't go there. But then we'd still go nearby. On the bottom of the Citadel, you have like some souk and some bars and things like this. And when I say, so let's step there and stay there. And like this, I can have a view of it was a main place and the souk nearby. And they say, we don't go to the souk. If you want, we go just to the bar, the coffee shop. Just there. The car in front of us. That's all.
Right.
I was like, okay.
That was a very serious time there.
Yeah.
You know, unfortunately.
But I still escaped from the hotel. I wanted, because they were just, the hotel food was okay. But
you want to go
like
taste the real cuisine?
Yes, exactly.
I mean, that's one of the best parts about
and I
traveling somewhere.
spotted it on the way to go to the hotel, like just like 200 meters far from the hotel.
Like while you're driving by? You're like,
yeah, I just saw like some place that he was kind of safe for me, because rich people stepping by there, like the local ones. Right. So it wasn't like poor things and where I could feel like there will be a danger or something.
Sure.
Because they were, you can see like very high expensive cars and things like this. So I was like, should be fine. Then I just step out of the hotel from the hall, right? Just normal, like everything going this way. Because the other one, just do that. So, and as soon as I get to the place, and I got a call. I was like,
where are you?
Yeah. Why you are at the hotel? I just get some food. You remember? If you get out, you need to call me first. We'll pick up you. We'll bring you anywhere you want. Right. But don't go by yourself.
That's what you did.
Oh, shit. But yeah, it was just like 200 meters. Yeah. Even not. I was like, I just pick up and 2 minutes later I will be home. And around it, there was rich people. It was a rich area. I didn't feel like it will happen anything.
I mean, that's one of the best thing about going to new countries or new places is the food, right?
Exactly.
Like you can always like get like Indian food, when you're in California or here, but when you actually go to the country and eat, with the ingredients that they're using, with the real spices that they're using, and not some mutated version of it, it's totally different. So I'd be the same way. I'd want to not stay in the hotel. I'd want to go out. Yeah. So did they come running for you?
Yeah. Actually, the time that they served me the food, the car came and the guy came with me and just waited for me for my. It was kind of wrap stuff that's local eating nearby, so I saw that. I wanted to eat the same.
Like a bread, like something wrapped in bread,
yeah, just this and some kind of bowl of rice to that, and yeah.
Was it good?
With me, they're bringing me to the hotel. I eat in my bedroom, and then since that. They told me actually the guy, the manager of the hotel, is one of his friends. So every time I'm moving, even out of my bedroom, even to visit another bedroom, he will tell me.
Oh, really?
So they know it. They knew exactly where
they were watching you.
Yeah. So yeah, no, it was good. It was good. It was original. That's what I wanted. Right.
Sure.
Something it was original. The food in the hotel was original as well, but more like in case for European style. It's just like. I wanted that.
And did you feel like
I never told to my parents actually this.
what, that you went to Iraq, or you
No,
went?
I told them I went to Iraq, but I didn't tell them that I went out of the track that people asking me to.
Well,
follow.
Mr. and Miss Baker, your son is
My
rebellious.
brother also don't know.
They're gonna know now, so if they watch this. But did you feel like it was dangerous, or like you get bad vibes while you were in Iraq, or was it?
Only when I landed, because the airport was completely empty. We were like 5 or something in the plane. When we get out, you see that it was like prison. You get out of prison. So they give you all the feeling that that's what I'm doing here, actually. I'm sure I want to stay here, right? And on the way, the thing is, happily, actually, I went to Africa before. So I saw all these, this kind of landscape and things like this, that they are not like shiny, neat and things like this, organized. Like
Sure. A little bit run down, dirty.
Yes, exactly. So that's okay, right? It was like, oh, finally it looks like what I saw before. People are just acting like normal. They're dealing business or something. No one like trying to escape, or when they see a convoy or cars or something, they don't run away. They're just like, okay, it's just strange, but it's okay. And after that, not anymore. Just a guy, actually, I'm not sure they like it me, but because maybe I take it not too seriously there, his security
the rules.
rules. Because I really feel like actually not unsafe. I really feel like in Africa. The point also why I'm feeling this is, I don't know why, my face, my physics, is just like people. Sometimes they come to me, even in Iraq. The guy, when I wanted to order these wrap things, he talked to me in Iraqi.
Ouais.
I was like, I don't understand.
Parlez-vous français, monsieur?
No, so the thing is, people tend to take myself, I don't know why, for a local.
Right.
Even I went to Tunisia. So many times, the guy just like talking to me in Arabic. I was like, I'm sorry, in French, because they can speak French there. I don't understand anything. So, and Morocco the same, and even after some other Middle East country, same. So I feel like maybe I have some ancestry, like something like who feel them that I'm a local.
Right.
Right, but no. Right. So that make me feeling that people will feel like I'm okay. I'm maybe not an European. I'm maybe not like an American.
Right.
But I'm like a local
the
one.
Americans.
Right.
So, yeah, like I felt like that also too, like the Iraqi people are very good-hearted, very nice people. Like take away all the war and the tragedy that they went through, like they're very like beautiful people. Like my first experience ever like meeting Iraqis, I was in India at the time. I was 17. So the Gulf War had happened. Like the one with like Kuwait, when Saddam attacked Kuwait or something like that.
83, 82, something like
No, this was like 94.
Oh, yeah, wait. 90 something.
It was like
92, 94, yeah. Maybe,
Yeah,
yeah.
so, and then America went over to help Kuwait and fight and shit like that. George Bush.
Yeah.
Bush
That's why
Senior.
I was surprised to have my bodyguard that was Kuwaiti.
Right. So,
We were in Iraq.
right. Well, I mean, yeah. So like, and then I was in India. I was at this pool hall, and these guys started talking to me, and they were Iraqis, and I was like, oh, I'm American. And then I instantly, like, my guard went up, like, oh, like, you hear so much like propaganda, like in the U.S., like, Iraq's like our enemy, and we're gonna go crush them, and you're a teenager at this time. I never traveled outside of the U.S.
It was the first time.
I went to Mexico.
Yeah.
But
Mexico is not really.
It wasn't like I went to like somewhere far away,
Yeah.
And then, but they're real nice, right? We started playing some pool together and stuff like that, and then they invited me over to their house. Like they lived pretty close to that pool hall, and I lived pretty close to that pool hall. they invited me over to their place, and I was like, at first I was kind of like, ooh, they're gonna like invite me over to their, because right now we're in a public place, right? But what happens when I get to their house and they're gonna beat the shit out of me, and this is for all the fucking shit the Americans did to our people. What I mean, this is
but
this was.
I'm not American. That's why I'm happy to be not American.
This is what I was thinking in my brain. I was like, fuck, do I go to the house? And finally, I said when we exchanged numbers, and then come over and eat. Fuck. And they also had like a PlayStation. So, and they were much older. I was like 17. They were probably 30s.
Okay.
So they were much older. Maybe like 25 to 30-ish kind of age. So not much older, but still from a teenager to a young adult to 30 years old, right? So finally I agreed. I went over there, right? I told my friend, hey, I'm going to this place.
Yeah, because you went with your family, or
I was alone. Okay. I was in India alone.
Wow.
So
okay. You told your parents after?
I told my friend that I was going over there, but hey, I'm going over to this place. This is the address they gave me. If I disappear,
you know where I am.
You have a starting point, to find me. Anyways, I ended up going over there. They ended up being great, just really nice, people, and they cooked amazing Middle Eastern, Iraqi food. And they knew I was a vegetarian, so they made special meals.
Yeah. Especially they are Muslims, so.
Yeah. Right. Well, Muslims still eat meat, but many of the things in their diet is vegetables. It was amazing food, amazing food. So, and we just played PlayStation games all day, had some beers and stuff like that. Ended up going over there dozens of times, just hanging out. And even to this day, I still think whatever happened to those guys. I mean, I don't know. They basically came to India to escape Iraq, because it was just gone through this war, and Saddam Hussein was a terrible guy and shit like that, or whatever the reasons were. They basically ran away and to start a new life, and the three of them were together. So.
That's the best thing to do. I mean, if you're alone, that's hard.
Yeah, and then for me, it was a great lesson of life. It doesn't really matter. You take politics, governments out of everything, and people are people. We're all basically the same. We're full of heart, full of sadness, full of joy.
Unless you are inside the propaganda, we are all human. As I said, some SS could be just human. Just because they were hired to do a job and things like this, they were stigmatized like SS. I'm a SS. But the thing is, beside that, what it means, okay, it should come from a school for Nazi thing and like this to be good, but I believe that not all of them, they really trust this. They just try to strive, to stay alive, right? Because on this side, that was also hopeful, because people used to forget that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't say that they did all good, right? They did awful things and horrible things, but they were not all.
They're not all that horrible, And also, too, it's when you want to talk about. When you're in that kind of society or group, we're talking about the SS now, in that kind of propaganda, it's very easy to manipulate the mind. Definitely. To make people do things that they normally wouldn't do, just because of the circumstances.
And I believe that's because they realize that they did something they should not have done by themselves. They might try to balance it and try to do something good on the side, just to feel like, okay, I did something wrong here, and I did something good here.
Right.
Just that. I hope. I mean, maybe I'm just a little bit girlish. I don't know how to say that, but just like candid, right? But I think that most of the people are like this.
Yeah, I mean that's what I learned from these Iraqi guys. You know, like doesn't matter where you're from, we're all the same. You know, and those guys ended up being like probably like my best friends. You know, like when I was staying in India, like we were hanging out all the time.
Yeah.
And somewhere in my old like Hotmail account, I have their email address. I haven't logged on to this Hotmail account in I don't know 20 years, but like I always it's still like some days I think like what I want, you know. It was such a valuable lesson for me, and kind of opened my brain to about just like people and humanity, and it doesn't matter where you're from, but just we're human. That's still like to this day, like I always, you know, just wonder like whatever, you know, do they ever think about me, you know, too, like they ever, you know, like does it go both ways, like because they have such a, you know, probably not, because like I was, you know, they're much older and more wise, and I was still a young kid at the time, but like, you know, they left such a beautiful impression on me. So
what I believe is, if we want a better world, for me, that's my thing. You know, like the world myths, they always ask how you can improve the world, or what you will do if you want to improve the world. And always is this question. Me, if I were a myth, I would just say, you need to send everyone, the young ones, after they get their, you know, their certificate or something like this, the Gakao or something, outside.
Let them go travel. Let them go see the world.
Not only travel, to go to work outside for 1 year, maybe 2 years, whatever, but not only 1 month. For 6 months to 1 year.
Go live somewhere.
Exactly. To live somewhere outside the community, to see the world. Then when they come back, I can tell you, every country in the world, they will double, you know, their creativity. They will double everything. I'm sure even their tolerance and everything will be so better. Of course, the lockdown countries like North Korea or something, they will not want that, right? And maybe America, actually, they will not want that too, because maybe some citizens will see actually what is it outside.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of Americans have traveled outside, but
Mexico, that's not outside. Canada, that's not outside.
No, but fine. Cheers, dude. So let's go back to you. So you were in Iraq. You finished up the work there. You came back to China.
Yeah, alive.
Alive.
Yeah. I wanted to buy like also a souvenir or something just to prove that I was there.
I love Iraq shirt or something.
But the thing is, on the market, we take the drink there, and the thing is, at some point, I don't know what happens, and it's just like, okay, we need to go now. Okay.
Like there's something.
I don't know, because nothing around was
but
like telling, but something like, because they were always on the phone, right?
Right.
And at some point they say, okay, we pay, we go. Right now, but yeah, we go. Okay. And then we just go.
Right.
And I never had the occasion to go again outside the hotel and things like this, so I didn't have my souvenir.
And the hotel was pretty like...
pretty standard for...
Was it barricaded? Kind of like the same, like the way...
Not barricaded. The thing is, I said, it was in a rich area, like just new built.
Mm-hmm.
So the roads were like just new, the sidewalk were just roughly done already, but the hotel was new also, and pretty international standard. So, but I didn't see any other foreigner there. Some Egyptians, I remember, we talked a little bit, some Egyptian, Iranian also, and now I remember the name of the language is Farsi.
Farsi.
Yeah. And I learned some Farsi at this time, but I completely forget. But yeah.
So you finished your time there and came back to China?
Yeah.
And then?
And then after the company closed, and then I have to...
Shortly after the Iraqi trip?
It was just 1 or 2 years after, in 2015.
Okay.
Yeah, right. The boss ran...
So you were there for 2-3 years, roughly? 2 years?
In Iraq?
No, with this company.
Oh, it's 5 years. Like 2011 to 2015, like 4 years.
4 years, okay.
Almost, yeah. So, yeah, and the thing is, around 2015, the boss ran away with the money and everything.
Oh, that kind of close.
Yeah, you know.
So that kind of close.
Yeah. And then the thing is, they have to close the company. And the thing is, I tried to, because I have like
So he made like a shit ton of money and just disappeared?
Yeah, the thing, because we're dealing with very huge projects, so it's millions.
Yeah, especially like lucrative projects like the World Cup and stuff like that.
Yeah, and the thing
there's
is,
a lot of money
they pay you
that.
the money in order to build here in China the building and then send it. So, and they want to do it down fast, so they give you a lot of money first.
Right.
And the thing is, at some point from 2013 almost, I don't know what's going on, but the boss like maybe take a little bit too much high. And the thing is, we had to get like, imagine 3 projects ahead to get the money from them in order to pay the 3 projects before. Right? So we were running like a rolling ball, like increasing the depth in some way. And we had to get...
Which doesn't make sense because like you said you got paid first and then...
Yeah, no, but the thing is, when you get paid, you try to make your project, right? You pay your suppliers and things like this, and then you have this money. But we couldn't make that. We had to get more projects in order to pay the project before. Right? And the thing is, it takes so much money that actually, as soon as we get the money, there is no more. And not only for this project, but for the second one, and only the third one begin to pay the first one.
Right.
So then when he come to this, then he was like pushing, we had to get a new project because the first project sometimes was higher, means that the money we need was like millions, and the third project was only 500,000. So we need more projects to pay the first one. And only the cost,
Right.
So that was like insane thing.
Sounds like some tricky accounting.
Yeah. So
some back pocket. Missing funds.
Yeah. And anyway, so I end up like they closed, and beside that, I have to find a job. And at this time, I had a family here. I finally built one. And
wait, you already had a family here at that time?
In 2015, yeah, just actually, it was just 1 year almost. Yeah.
So while you were traveling around,
I couldn't have a social life, right? But just toward the end,
you met a girl.
I stay more and more in China, and then I met a girl, and then she was okay with that because I was thinking I will go on, right? I didn't see that the company would close so soon,
right?
And then finally I met a girl, and then I say okay. Then the thing I wanted to stay because I feel good with her, and I loved actually Shenzhen.
Right.
The ambience here, the
dynamics,
the energy is amazing. I didn't want to quit. I wanted to stay here, to do something here. So I tried to find a job that corresponded to my position and things like this, but I couldn't. My Chinese was horrible, if not non-existent. And the position I had was so special that the architecture company here
don't even have it.
They didn't have this position. So then I couldn't have it. Unless they're working like my previous company overseas, and then I could do it. But then
so the overseas, you're kind of like a project manager kind of role? Or?
Yeah, the thing is, I wasn't exactly a project manager. I was like, because the project manager was my best friend, right? And me, I was in between him, designer, and the engineers and the clients. And also the company builder, right? So I was the one in middle.
What was your official job description? Architect?
They were like kind of project manager if you want, but like
because you weren't doing designs or doing drafting or anything like that.
So what I was doing, I was not doing the design itself, but I was doing the thing that first I was talking with the engineers. That's designer want that. You want the design. You want something that looks like this, right? Then after the engineer, always the answer is like, I cannot do that. Okay, wait. Let me show you how you can do that. So you take this, you put this and you make like this, and then it looks like the engineer,
You want another piece
the
of ice?
designer. I'm good. The designer wants, right? So then you say, okay, I can try. Then you try. Then I show the example. I mounted like a 3D picture to show to the designer exactly the view he showed me, how he looks like from the point of view he designed only. Then he will be, oh, that's nice. That's exactly the same. That's exactly the same. Good. But then you don't know how the background behind. So that's my things. And after when this is done, my other things is, okay, now we have the engineer drawings, the layout. We have the designer ones. And then we need to talk with the suppliers, the one who furnished, make the buildings here in China. Then we have to decide, because they also will say, this is not possible to do. This is because every rules engineering are different from different countries, the standards, right? So say, don't worry, we take higher standard in Europe in order to fit the one in China. So whatever we design, it will be even oversized in some way. So you should be fine, because we have this experience. No, it's too much, we lose money. We pay you the money, don't worry. And then, we all this kind of negotiation and things to be sure that they will do exactly what we want. And also the materials, to choose the materials. So, going back with the designer to choose the materials. You want something like a raw wood, we cannot do that. We can have fake wood because it's faster, it's cheaper, and we need that there. Okay, let's do that. So then we just to make the consensus in some way.
Got it.
Yeah. And they don't have this here. Because people don't think the same way. Engineer, they are like German, like this. Designer, they're like Italian. Big, right? Just like this.
What are French?
French, they are more like Italian. Yeah. They went to the school of Roma for getting the highest diploma possible. So yeah, they belong more from the Italian school. Yeah.
So the company closed down.
Yeah.
You lost your job.
Yeah.
You were looking for
position that I couldn't find
in some architect company or building company or
and
something.
at this time they were not like a lot of international companies, or they were too small, or they didn't want to hire. And especially I couldn't make this bridge what I was good at between Chinese and European, because I didn't know Chinese. So I couldn't do that here in China. So then I say, okay, so I had contacts. I have a lot of engineer on my side and things like this. And I decided to build my own stuff. So I had a huge dream of designing, how to say that, kind of plant, energy plants on the top of buildings, urban buildings, just to provide them electricity in any way possible, to make them kind of self-sufficient in water, energy. So like this, they were kind of independent. So wherever you go, and also to save money, because at this time, in China, the governments, they were like trying to push on the green energy and things like this. They were just starting, and I was like, okay. I always get inspired by that, and I was thinking I can do something. I have the engineers, I know them. I have also the economical purpose for how to manage a project, but also the ecological way, because I was interested in that. And then I built this startup. This time it was calling Green Case.
Green Keys?
Green Case. The
case.
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 Yeah. So we started, and I ran quickly out of money. And especially because all the money of my previous job, where all my bonuses flied away, I never touched it. So I was...
You never touched it because you never got
my
it?
My bosses? Yeah, I never. So I just get my basic salary paid.
Right.
So, but the bonuses and everything, like it was a huge amount, I couldn't get it. So then my saving ran very fast down, right? Super fast, because startup like suck a lot of money.
Yeah, especially if you're dealing with like green energy or
but
building or architecture.
I try to first get to the fairs and things like this, try to get contact and to be able to get into a project, because so far I couldn't get into a project. So mostly was networking in order to let people know me and know what I can do and my projects. So But it didn't work out, and I have to drop it. At some point, I was losing money, and my guanxi was horrible at this time. Locally, because I had one network, but overseas.
Plus, you had babies at this time?
Not really.
She wasn't...
she was from her side. She's not my biological one.
Oh.
Yeah. So the thing is, I didn't have her as a baby. But the thing is, I still have to manage something. So, and no more money. So I was running on her money. At some point, I say, okay, that we have to stop. So then we stop. And I help her on her own project, her own industry. She was in import-export for electronic components in Shenzhen, right?
Mm.
At some point, we had also an issue because the money also. So then we decide, okay, we have to decide something.
We got to do something.
Yeah, to get some money in, right?
Right, you got to pay the rent.
Just that summer, my girl was like in kindergarten.
Mm.
And some parents, friend to her friends and things like this, they were just like so annoyed about their kids, what to do during the summer. And my wife just said that, yeah, you just play board game with her because I'm fan of board game. I have board game at home. So I was playing board game with my daughter. And they say, can you do that with all kids? And I was like, okay.
And that's when the idea popped.
Yeah. And then is my wife who just say, why are you not doing some board game English things? Because English tutoring was like a thing.
Yeah, everywhere.
I say, I don't want to be English teacher. But board game with English, I'm okay. Right? It's about board game, I'm okay.
Right.
So then we try this out.
So you've kind of like, because I met you through board games.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of for what I understood about, because I didn't know anything about this architecture stuff or this Iraq stuff. I always just thought, like, Eric, he's the board game guy, right?
Yeah. I made it up.
So kind of like, I think board games are kind of like your love, in a sense.
Architecture is still my passion, but board game, I grew up with it.
Right.
Means that was my first love in some way.
Sure.
And then architecture, it become my second love.
Right.
But I still love it, right? I love it still.
And you were still playing games while you're doing the architecture stuff, and
it
was always still part of your life.
And now I'm designing games because designing is always the same kind of thing. Right?
Sure.
Creativity. Mm.
Yeah, it makes now I understand because you come from a design background.
Mm-hmm.
You're also and you know more games than anybody that I know in the world. Right? Like you just look at your look at the collection that you have. It's like basically like my books like right here times 4 of just board games. Maybe more.
Not that more. My target this year is to have 365 games in order to have one for every day.
So how many do you have now?
320.
So I got to give you 2 to add to your collection.
So, yeah, no, I know. But the thing is, I know only the stuff I want to know about this. Because you will find board gamers who know way more about some board games or news about board games. But I just don't have time to check the news of board games, for example.
Right.
I'm so busy around that I cannot check what is new on the board games. Because board gamers, they are just like so geeky into it. They were like, oh, you saw the last one like this and thing like this. They make this and this designer and thing.
This limited edition.
And I'm like, which designer?
Right.
And I need to check that. Right. Because there are so many. I mean, imagine about 5,000 games are produced every year.
5,000 new board games.
Yes.
Talking about new. Right.
Yes. How you want to keep track of that?
It's impossible.
Yes, exactly. And the thing is, the cool thing still is 80% of them, about like 75, 80%, no one know exactly, are done here in Guangdong.
Produced, you mean?
Yes. Mostly Dongguan and something like this.
Yeah, of course. I mean, They're all. This is the manufacturing country of the world, you know.
Yes,
But
here in Guangdong, where I am,
right.
So when I learned that, I was like, if I don't do anything about board game, I'm just dumb.
Right.
It's where the board game are done here,
right?
So I couldn't not do anything, right? And when I learned about this, I was doing my little English thing, something like this. I say, I need to do something. I really need to build up something about board game because that's where they are. So I started contacting the board game industries in Europe, in US, and try to see if I can do something. I was nobody. So the answer was like pretty cold. Right. So then I will do my own stuff and later we'll see.
We'll talk about it.
Right. And then here we go.
So let's go back to the beginning.
Yeah.
So your wife was like, hey, like, you should play board games with teaching English and make money doing it.
Yeah.
And when you were first, you know, like, when that idea first popped into her brain and became a reality, was it something you were excited about? Were you hesitant about it, you know?
Hesitant.
Because, like, for me, like, if someone said, like, hey, like, you know, you've been making books for 20 years, but, you know, let's go teach board game English.
Yeah, no.
You know, like, or something else. I'd be like, well,
imagine the little twist on this is you were on a book things, and I don't know, there is a crisis of materials or whatever, or something get wrong on your business, and you lose the business.
Right.
You are like that close to get bankrupt.
Right.
And then your wife says, like, what about making books or what your collection and you used to read to the kids and make like storytelling or something in English?
Right.
Will you accept?
At first, like the first feeling is like, no, I don't want to do it.
That's my feeling as well.
You know?
I was like, I don't want to be an English teacher. I'm not an English teacher.
Right.
I'm French. You can hear that, right? So the thing is, I hesitate. I first say, just to have them just for this summer, okay, why not? Because I love board games and I'm playing with her. So whatever we had 2 more kids, that's not a big deal. But then they begin to pay us. Oh.
There's money coming in.
Yeah, but it was nothing. You
could buy a dinner maybe.
Think a little bit. I think the first it was like they pay me 16 kwai or something like this
an hour
per hour. Right, but it was money. I was like, maybe it can be more.
Right.
And depending on how you present it, and depending on how you, because I grew up with board games. I know also many board gamers actually doesn't see the board game this way. And that's maybe my difference. It's just like, I know what the board game brings me in my life. And I met also an amazing teacher in my college. He was the worst teacher actually ever, but the most amazing one at the same time. That the one who kicked me out of the school many times because at this time I wasn't a good boy.
Right.
And she writes so many words to my parents, you know, like some message, and I have to make sign my parents because I didn't make this or I make that, blah, blah, blah. I make so many overtime schooling because of her.
Right.
But
in detention, we call it detention.
Yeah, exactly,
in
exactly, detention. Yeah, I did so many, but because of her. But the thing is, she's the one that was our main teacher, and at this time, because of lack of teacher positions, she was doing French and history and geography. And she introduced board game design into our classroom to do this. How to learn French? That's so annoying language, French. There are so many exceptions and so many things. Every time someone come to me and I want to learn French. How is it your English? Okay. You feel hard? Don't try French. The thing is, then she introduced the board game with us to learn French. Before that, I was dumb. After that, I begin to love French language. No, but that's crazy. Before that, geography, I'm hills, mountains, rivers, I mean, stream.
What, it doesn't
whatever.
matter.
I mean, we don't care.
Right.
I mean, just I'm living here in my hometown. I will always stay in my hometown. That was what I was believing, right, when I was a teenager. That's enough. And history, how we care about the old stuff there. I mean, it's so hard already today. But I end up loving history, loving geography. So much, actually, that I was tied to go geography university or architecture university.
And you, all because she was teaching through playing games.
Not only playing, designing.
Designing games.
Games. We designed, like, I don't remember, like 10 different games just to learn French rules, to learn French or geography or history. It was mind-blowing. I mean, I was like, I rediscover education through her. Even, actually, I don't know why, my brain was completely fed up, but I fuck up everything with her because she was always putting me in detention or war with my... But I love her. She changed my life.
Right.
And because of that, then I saw the board game in different ways. I saw the other potential, educational. And so when my wife came to me and said that, first I heard teaching English. I don't teach English. I'm not an English teacher. I'm French, and I'm not a teacher.
Right.
But then I heard board games.
Bing.
Yeah, and I was hesitant, and I made a try because just playing, right?
Well, you didn't have anything else to do at the time.
Yeah, in some way, it was summer and things like this. So I was kind of give up in like I was kind
Green
of
base
depression because I did have a great project, Green Case, that was like for me something I had in my mind for years already, and he fell down flat. So I was like kind of down. But when I say playing board game with kids, okay, why not? That will bring me up. And the first week passed, then they want me to go on. And then they say they can pay for the next one. Okay? And then we go on for, I don't know, 1 month or something like this. I say, oh, maybe there is something here. And I did enjoy it because actually the teaching English wasn't really teaching, was just
talking to them.
Them. And when they couldn't express themselves, then tell them how to say.
Right.
And then try to make them repeat. And it was all in the flow, actually, of the games and scenarios. I was like, that's okay. And then I start like this. Then I start just like making this. And after I bring into way bigger level than what is it now. I mean, what it was at this time.
Right. It grew year by year.
Yeah, I mean, I build up programs like curriculum, something like this. I make it... Now I completely drop the English side. I'm completely onto the educational side of the board games, but without using educational board games. Because they are educational board games that they are boring and just like the one you use in the classroom now. And so I just use classical board games, means the one that everyone play, us, adults. Under the 18 years old. Games, not like your games.
Not my games.
Not
Cheers,
that kinds. Okay. And then I just change the rules in order to adapt according to their age. And I change the rules also according to what I want to teach them. And not anymore about English, but about self-sufficiency, passions, respect, behaviors, anything you want, actually. Because board games is just a mini life. Is everything you can meet in a life, just in mini.
Right.
You can make mistake. They will not be impact. In life, you make mistake, you will pay it. So you can train in some way in board games. And that's what I liked. And I want to use it. And now is what I'm doing.
Cheers, dude. I love it. Yeah, when I first before I came to China, and I'll just go a brief little history about myself, right?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't play too many board games when I was a kid, right? I definitely had a few games that were very influential in my
I have some idea.
Yeah. Very influential in like me growing up was one was Fireball Island.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Not the new version. The new version's garbage. The original version.
Agree. Yeah.
Which
I played it as well.
Yeah.
I still remember when and where I played for the first time. You imagine that? I played so many games, but that one is still here.
I have the memory. I still have the memory when I was a kid of when I bought the game. I was like, we were at Target or something like that, and I remember seeing the game on TV because they had a beautiful animation for it. It was like very, Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And then for some reason, I don't know why. It wasn't like I don't remember it being my birthday or being like Christmas or something, but like. We were at Target. I saw the board game there, and my parents, they bought it for me. And me and my friends, we played this game for hours and hours and hours. And even as an adult, like when I started like working in books, and I went on eBay, right? I was like, I want to buy a mint version of Fireball Island. I bought it, and I still have it. I mean, it's not here, unfortunately, but it's in the U.S. My parents are taking care of it for me. And then the other board game that, when I was a kid, that was very important to me was Hero Quest. And I think this is probably like as a game designer, as a board game designer, probably the most influential game of helping me create a game, because it's very, especially a lot of like children's games and a lot of like games that you grow up playing as a child, they're very linear, right? Like if you play Candyland, it's very like go around the board, or you shoots and ladders. It's still pretty linear. Or any of these kind of like Parker Brothers, Milton Bradley games.
We call it the classic games.
The classic kids games, right? They're all very linear.
Even on kids, actually, they are just classic games.
Hero Quest was kind of freeform. You can decide to go here. You can decide to go there. Yeah. You don't have there's not like a set path.
Role-playing game.
Yeah, but I wasn't even. I didn't even know what role playing was at the time.
Yeah, but that was inspired by. Yeah,
definitely comes from D&D, and that genre for sure. But as a kid, I didn't even know. When I was playing this game, I had no idea what D&D was.
It was just born now, so yeah.
So my parents bought me Hero Quest. I played that tons. Like when I figured out, when I heard that they re-released Hero Quest. And then I started talking to my mom about it. She went to I have like these 2 big trunks that are full of board games, right? And so she went through the Hero Quest stuff. I still have like the character sheets from when I was a kid, like the marked up with like our character's name and our life points and the gold and stuff, right? So like, I think if I ever go, and it's like all of like my cousins and uncles, like names plus their character, like, I kept this game like as mint as I could, and then just like I did with it was pretty beat up, but just like I did with Fireball Island, I bought a mint version of Hero Quest when I was in my young 20s, and so now I have like 2 versions of Hero Quest, my original one, plus this kind of minter copy of it, and then when I heard about which was a miracle, like, and going back to you, when I heard about they re-released Hero Quest, and then I told you about it, and then you were able to like find it through some guy, and it was in great condition, never played, which was like within like me realizing that they re-released it in its original form, right? Because I had already bought the new version of Fireball Island. And I played it because thinking like, wow, I'm going to play this game with my son, right? And then I played it, and I was like, this is like garbage. You played it?
No, I didn't, but I saw some videos on something like this.
Yeah, it's a totally different. And it's not. I don't. Even, it doesn't do justice to call it Fireball Island, because like, it's like Fireball Island was like it was a race, like everybody was going in one direction, and then at some point you choose to go left or go right, or hop in a cave, and then you're on your own kind of adventure.
Yeah.
This one is like, go wherever you want and go take pictures, go, visit the, you get points by going to the scenic sites and taking a picture. Yeah. I was like, fuck, like everything that was like great about Fireball Island, right, was like racing to get to the jewel first. And then when you got the jewel first, you got the bonus, you got the cards, and you got to roll a fireball down, and then the real fun happened. It was the race to the dock, where everybody's gunning for you, everyone's trying to pass you. You're hoping you have like the fake jewel card that you're saving for like that last little loop around before the dock, where the guy's gonna pass you and you're gonna give them like the fake jewel card, and then you're gonna burst past them, like if we played this game.
You can feel the experience.
It's like no man, we played this game for hours, like even when I rebought the game as an adult, I played it with my adult friends and it was fun. Everyone loved it, because but then
that's the thing of the game at this time. It was what, 80s?
It was mid to late 80s.
Yeah.
Right?
So all this game at this time. Even remember we talk about Robo Rally.
Robo Rally,
yes,
right? That was that was 90s.
Yeah,
right?
but it's the same kind of games. It's just like 80s, 90s. All these games were like exactly on the spirit of this kind of 1780s, right? Mm-hmm. So then the thing is, everything was liberated. Everything kids could play with stuff that adults could play, right? Mm. But later they find out maybe the kids should have their own games and things like this, more like Candyland and things like this and blah blah blah. So then it was not fun anymore.
Right.
It was just like, as you said, linear, just to teach them something and just going there. But then the adults will get bored, annoyed to play with this. Right?
Yeah. I mean,
that's why now when they release a game from the 80s, it will just be linear and try to be kind and be good and things like this. That's what the people doesn't want.
Right.
Why do people get in first place in board games? Is to leave this, right? To leave the life things. Life is not the line, right? That's why these games are great.
Right.
The first edition.
Yeah, and those were, and I was so happy that they didn't touch Hero Quest, even though I feel like the Hero Quest system, it feels a little bit dated. It could be a lot better. Right, just from a game designer standpoint, right? Mm-hmm. I'm glad that they didn't try to change it. They kept the original, unlike Fireball Island, which they ruined it. Mm-hmm. It's better to when you have something, something that was loved by so many, and you have all these 80 kids who are now my age, who grew up with this game. We loved it for a certain reason. You don't want to ruin that. But going back to Hero Quest, when I told you about it, you were able to find somebody that had it in China. I guess they bought it.
China, Shanghai, actually.
And it was a guy that bought it to play for himself, or he was a seller?
No, he was a pirate guy, so he bought it for himself back in US.
And he brought it to China himself?
Yes, and he wanted to play, but he couldn't find anyone to play with him. So but that's the trick of China. Mm-hmm. It's just so many people bring games from US, Europe, back here, and huge game that could take hours, or you need some commitments, right?
Right. Yeah. Hero
but
Quest
then they will not find the people who want to meet this or another city, so they cannot do it. So then I cannot do it. I will sell it. Maybe someone can, and then I grab it for you.
Yeah. It was perfect, brand new, never used. It was like my own edition, and now like if you look at my wall over there, I have all the expansions. A new one's on the way.
He was really sad to sell it, I can tell you.
Why, you wanted to keep it for yourself?
Yeah. But the thing is, the guy was like, I sell it, guy, but I hope you really use it. And if you don't use it, I prefer you not sell to you.
Right.
I mean, he was like really a fan, and he didn't want to sell to someone who collected, so just like would not use it properly.
Right.
So I told him that you will grow up with it, and you will play with it for sure.
Right.
And then he said, "Okay, I will do it."
Later, you should take a picture.
And just
of
tell
his game,
maybe I
plus
should.
all the expansions that have come
just
ever
to
since.
let him that he has some little friends.
Yeah. He'll, if he's a real Hero Quest lover, he'll love to see that.
I think I should do that.
Yeah, we'll do that.
I will do that.
I want to show. I want to actually show you too, because I always like send you pictures like, oh, I got a new expansion.
Yeah, I see everything, but little by little.
Yeah.
I never saw the whole thing together.
Yeah, it's over there. Well, after the podcast, we'll take a look. But my kid loves that game. I love that game. And the thing with that Freddy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who
the Italian designer.
Yeah, the Italian architect designer. He also he played Fireball Island.
Yeah.
When he was a kid.
We are some generation. Right?
He played Hero Quest.
Yeah.
Right. And he played Magic the Gathering.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you ever played Magic the Gathering, but that's
I did high school.
High
school time.
Going back to the games that influenced me was Fireball Island, Hero Quest, and Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
So
that's a triptych of the 80s, 90s.
Yeah, the best of the best.
I think that's the games that to build up the nerdy area, the nerdy groups.
Right.
Because Magic the Gathering, they got nerd things, like a nerds that's evolved together, right? Hero Quest, same. He goes also with the Indian synergies, but he got something. And Fireball Islands, I don't know why. It's everyone also I know who play board games played it.
Played that game.
Yeah,
and
I don't know why. Is that a common? Is like a common ancestor on the trees,
You're like if you ever need to go on if I ever become single, I'm gonna put on my dating profile. Do not contact me unless you've played Fireball Island, Hero Quest, or Magic the Gathering. You must have played 2 of these out of 3 in order to write me.
That was a nice one, finally.
So
convince me about gin.
It's a good gin, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was first it was Fireball Island.
Yeah.
Then it was Hero Quest, and then one of the biggest influence of my life was that my dad was he's also an artist, and he got hired at a company doing 3D modeling and 3D animation for a video game company. And so we moved to a brand new city. It was like a small mountainside city, maybe 6,000-7,000 people live in, tiny. But do you remember Sierra Online?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I play so many of the other games.
King's Quest.
Yeah.
I think they made Leisure Suit Larry.
Yeah, they made so many games.
So many games. So
I played so many games of them.
So he wasn't working for Sierra Online, but some people from Sierra Online left that company to start a brand new game company.
Are you kidding me?
So
but then later, game with our father design.
No, so the games that my father worked on, they all fucking failed. But later he actually, because it was a brand new startup. So it was the people who left Sierra Online to start their own company, and then these people hired my father to be an artist for a game.
Okay.
But the games that they made failed. Like they're all just tanked. They're like the company was open for like 3-4 years, and then done. But then later my father went back to work on some Sierra Online games. I don't remember what game it was, but he did work on some Sierra Online games.
It was too long time ago. I cannot remember.
But yeah, I mean, it was during the 90s, middle 90s. I'm talking about 94. It was one of the biggest game company for computers in the world.
Yes.
Not
because I was a computer guy.
Yeah, it wasn't. We're not talking about like Sega or Nintendo or you know.
Yeah, I was a computer guy, so I wasn't a console guy.
Yeah.
So then all this, what do you say?
No.
I can't remember it. I don't know which one.
There was a game that Sierra Online made called The Realm, which was like one of the first MMO games.
Maybe, yeah.
Right.
I don't remember now. It's so long.
Anyways, they were pioneers, right? Sierra Online was definitely pioneers.
I mean, I loved these games.
So
I mean, their
King's
games
Quest. I can't remember all the ones. Anyways, big games of their time. And so my dad went to go work at this other company. It was called Tachyon Studios. And there was one game designer that was there. He was maybe middle 20s, 27, 28. And he kind of like, I was 14, 15 at the time. And he took me under his wing. And he introduced me. He used to love board games. He had a big board game collection. So he used to play like, was it Steve Jackson, Illuminati?
Okay.
You remember this game? You know this game?
No. I mean, I heard about this game, but I never played it. I never saw it played.
But you know this game, right?
I know by names that's something that's,
So like this game was released around that time. We used to play this game.
Okay.
And he started playing Magic in beta.
Yeah.
Right? I joined. He when I met him, Magic the Gathering was in revised time. So he introduced me to Magic. Right? So I started buying Magic packs and stuff like that. But the best thing that he did was he was the game designer for one of the projects, but he loved card games and board games and stuff like that. So he would always go to these board gaming conventions, right?
Yeah.
And he brought me with him.
That's nice.
Right? So we're talking about like this young.
That's where the love starts. So it's just like the spark starts there.
That was the fire.
Yeah, but I mean, in a fair, you should have met like dozen games, even 1,000 games, right?
It definitely like my mind just went boom, exploded, and especially like I used to, me and my friends, we eventually got into like Dungeons and Dragons, right? And we used to like we didn't have any. So here's the funny thing about our version of Dungeons and Dragons, that we didn't have books. We didn't have dice. We never used the paper. But we would mimic Dungeons and Dragons just based on talking. So we were living my Dungeons and Dragons thing was like we would go swimming in the river, and then we would lie on the rocks, for hours. Like our summers and our weekends were just like in the river, like little river rats. And we would just lie on the fucking rock, and one person was the dungeon master telling the story, and the other people were the characters, and it was all through verbal.
Okay.
There was no dice rolls. There was no.
Okay. Just DM just choose anything outcome, right?
Kind of. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's basically.
But how you keep track of your story to the other session you will have maybe weeks later?
There wasn't.
Okay.
There was this kind of like.
So it's one shot.
It was
RPG.
like it was it was like
that's cool.
But it wasn't even like you kept the same character. It was this kind of like.
That's one shot RPG.
Hey, let's play Dungeons and Dragons. You're the elf.
Yeah.
Dwarf, you're this guy. We're in a fucking forest, and there are 50 guys surrounding you.
Yeah.
Dwarf, what do? It was like laying on the rocks, swimming, right? In our little swim trunks. That was like the version of Dungeons and Dragons that I grew up with.
That's amazing.
Which I don't know where it came from. Like obviously someone introduced that to me.
Definitely, yeah.
But
you cannot invent, and especially orcs and elves and sinners. You have to be introduced.
Sure,
you cannot be like coming from nowhere.
Well, HeroQuest was already introduced to all that stuff,
Sure.
But like as a child, like I don't remember seeing Dungeons and Dragon books, But I know that we played our little River Rock version of Dungeons and Dragons.
That's a nice fashion. I never heard that actually.
Yeah, it was just like what we did, So, anyways, I went with this guy to this game convention. And I basically just followed him, for the entire GameCon. Like whatever he was interested in, he would sign us both up. You know, it's like, okay, we're gonna play this game at 2:00, and then we're gonna go join this RPG session here and whatever. He signed me up with him for a Call of Cthulhu game.
Oh, nice.
And this fucking blew my mind. Like this was
Call
like,
of Cthulhu, yeah, for sure, it will blow your mind.
From D&D, from River Rock D&D to
Cthulhu, yeah.
Cthulhu, like structured Cthulhu with like character sheet and dice and stuff like that. And things became very real. Like if your character did, because in our version of River Rock Dungeons and Dragons, like you would never die. It was always like you always had some stupid, silly shit happen to you, but like you would never die. But in this guy's Call of Cthulhu game, it was very real, very lifelike. Yeah. Big consequences based on what your character did, and plus like this, the story. It was like 1920s. No, it was like 1890s.
I don't
kind of like a Wild West.
It is the creator of Cthulhu, actually, and all the things, the old ancients and things like this. I don't remember his name, and I'm ashamed.
H.P. Lovecraft.
Yes.
Yeah.
You see, I'm good at it, but not that.
Right. Give me that book on the right.
Oh, you got it.
I got a beautiful version of it. This is full of dust and everything.
Damn it. Yeah, I mean, Lovecraft is like...
He's a legend.
I mean, he created a whole world that's full of monsters and things. He's like... again, I forget his name. Alien.
Tolkien.
No? Yeah, Tolkien also, but Alien also. Tolkien, Alien, the guy Guggenheim or something like this. I don't remember his name. Create Aliens. The movie sequel, something like that. Yeah. Also from here.
Yeah. I'm sure this
Tolkien, most of it was almost at the same time actually, but also get something from here. Right. We talk about the legend. But most of the people, they don't know about it. Only the nerds.
Only the nerds know about H.P. Lovecraft,
But the thing, he shaped so many things from the common people, actually, that they don't have any idea about it.
Right. Just the whole horror genre. Yeah. And so this book I saw in the factory.
Really?
So the whole collection, right? Give me the other books. So I was in the factory one day.
The factory? Was just like this? You didn't buy it? I mean,
no, I didn't buy it.
So, just like a collection?
So these books I used to have because I used to play Call of Cthulhu, right?
Yeah.
So I was in the factory, and then I saw Call of Cthulhu, the Keeper rule book. This one I didn't have. This was the scenarios, but then this one I had was the Investigator's Handbook.
How you can find this just randomly like this?
I go to every factory I go to their sample room and see what they made.
Yeah,
and then I saw H.P. Lovecraft. These two I actually owned. My parents probably still have it.
Just to prove that China is just the factor of the world of anything possible. Right?
So I took. Then I saw this. So they printed these RPG books and they printed the storybooks. And I grabbed all of them and I went to the factory. I said, I need these books. These books have such a big influence on my life, and I want them. And they said, okay, you can have them. So.
Yeah, nice.
They're beautiful. Especially this one. This one's a beautiful.
Yeah, definitely.
With the foil stamping. So I joined this Call of Cthulhu game.
Yeah.
It was like this old cowboy guy, right, with a big old cowboy hat. Like, so the role playing rooms were like actually like hotel rooms where they remove.
Often on the fair is like this. Yeah.
They remove the beds and just put in a table, right? So. And he just created this. I was so captivated by the story that he told and the character that I had and all the characters and his the way that he integrated, everything, and it was my first, like, what I want to say is my first role playing, real RPG role playing experience.
Yeah.
You know,
And I think the guy was a real good DM, because
He
if
was-
you get a shitty one, you will
he-
not
he-
get into it.
he was amazing. You know, maybe also because I was 14 and never experienced anything like that, but
yeah.
you know, doesn't matter. The experience for me
Could
was
have been Barbie
eye-opening.
Land maybe,
you
and he
know?
would be also still inside.
Sure,
Yeah, right.
you know,
But that's good that he was Cthulhu.
it was good too. And then after that, I was like, you know what, like, fuck, dude, like, I never want to play D&D again. You know, and so even like, I tell you, like, in high school, when I was 16, I started a role playing club in my high school, and it was called RAD, RADD, Role Players Against Dungeons and Dragons. So, so like,
You went for it against it pretty quick, actually. Usually people that are still like accepting D&D and saying that's the past, means they come from it.
yeah,
You went against it.
well,
right?
we all started there, but for me, like, I saw the light and I was just like, holy shit, like D&D is D&D is great. I have nothing against D&D, right? But me, as like the kind of story that I like, the grittiness of Cthulhu, right? And there's so many other role playing, Vampire the Masquerade, Cyberpunk. They even have like Star Wars role playing, Star Trek role playing.
Everything in role playing, even Barbie. I mean, I just mentioned Barbie. That is still right.
So people, we had like at our peak time, we had like 20 members, and so
Nice.
every weekend, like, people would host games. Like, we had pretty much like a schedule. Like, okay, I'm gonna do Cthulhu on Saturday the 14th. Okay, I'm gonna do Cyberpunk Saturday the 20th, and I'm gonna do Vampire the Masquerade. Everybody had their own taste, you know, their own style.
You will be on Cthulhu.
100%.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything else, right? 100%. And I had my best friend. He was his name was Daryl Evans. He was a huge Cthulhu. I don't want to say huge, but he also liked Cthulhu, right? We share the love for Lovecraft and this kind of genre.
What I find funny, I'm sorry to stop it here, but actually the guy Lovecraft is a Britain guy, right? But the most deep into it,
Americans.
yes.
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't know why. It's just like something like the American gamers I have around me that are really into gaming. They are either not all on that.
You know, I think
completely focus on that. They are really into it.
I tell you, the reason that my guess is because a lot of movies and American authors take a lot of influence from Lovecraft early on in cinema, early on in literature, you know, and this kind of became like this cult following. That'd be my guess.
Okay.
You know, why he's more popular. And then obviously someone fell in love with him so much that they wanted to make an RPG game out of it.
Yeah.
So,
Definitely.
but like doing the Call of Cthulhu games in my RAD, RADD, Role Players Against Dungeons and Dragons, that would be like, I would say, like my first dabbling into game design, because I didn't want to make just sit around the table experience and roll some dice with paper.
Yeah.
I wanted to make it more theatrical, more involved. So me and my best friend, we would create like a concept where we would do it in his garage, and we would decorate it different every time. And we'd always do one-shot campaigns, which is like you're gonna play this and then you'll never get back to it, right? It's like a one-time story.
Like you used to play in a river,
You
right?
know?
On the rocks,
Right, you know, exactly. You know, or like what we did at the Game Con
Yeah, right,
you know,
sure. Yeah,
it's just like you just boom, you go do the story and finish. So we just kind of like, and I would say probably I was the biggest driver of this, where we would just create stuff that wasn't normal in normal role playing. Like for example, like I wanted to make like a story about where players were playing against other players, right?
Yeah.
So we made them all start in the same environment together, where it was in this book printing factory, you know, because my dad worked at the book printing factory at this time,
So
right? And
you wish Cthulhu destroys try this time, right?
so everyone at this factory is kind of like big and heavy and obese and right, not very fit. So they're all playing these kind of characters. So we and they didn't know anything about the story, right? So they're at this book printing factory and they get this character, and they all think that they're going to be playing this character for the whole game.
Yeah.
So within the first hour, this crazy monster comes into the factory and kills them all.
Yeah.
Right? And then the first half that died first, all go to one room. And the second half that died last, all go to another room.
Yeah.
And then me and my friend, he taking on as the game master in one room, and I'm taking on the game master in the other room. So he took on the cultist, and I took on the investigators who are investigating the crime scene. Yeah. And then we put them against each other. But they all had that first experience to know nice. What happened, right? How all those people died. And then boom, they got into finally their real characters, you know?
That's nice.
And then so like we would have like a meetings, like so every like hour or scene, him and I would get together, like, hey, what's happening with your group? What's happening with your group? Okay, you know, share notes and then put it aside. And then like one of the investigators was actually part of the cult group, you know.
I have to be, yeah.
So he was sending information, you know, to like to the other side and shit like that. So, and then in the end, we when the investigators were finally coming to like the cultist house, it was basically it's like a war between the two, and whoever wins, you know, wins. Whoever dies, you know. But we used to do crazy stuff like that, you know. Like, I just wanted to make something that was like, because with how many people were in our group and everybody wanted to play different games. Basically, one weekend a month was Cthulhu Day. So we had like a month, you know.
Be like, non-walking day, Cthulhu Day.
But we had a month to prepare the story, you know, like because what's our story gonna be this time? You know, okay, we do this. Boom, let's go do that.
That's nice.
And it was a blast, man. Like
I definitely hear that.
You know, like I had so much fun. Like, and I still fucking dream about having those kind of like RPG storytelling nights, because it was.
I mean, just recently, someone asked me, "What can we bring them to Halloween this year?" You don't want to bring that?
Cthulhu? I don't have a story. I don't know.
I mean, one shot, right? It's just for Halloween nights.
I would. I don't know if I would be a good GM at this point in my life.
Yeah, why not? You did before. Why now not anymore? Usually this kind of thing you cannot lose. It's like bicycle.
I'm
Once
an old
you did
guy,
it,
you know?
it's done. No.
So I'm an old man at this point.
Right. You just make some games, right? Like two at least I know about. I don't think you are very weak. I know some people that are not able to, but I'm pretty sure you can.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, I'm not. If I had like a group of like 2 or 3 people to do it with, maybe I'd consider it. But
we are not talking about only 3 or 4 people for Halloween's. That would be a massive event.
Oh, you're talking about like a LARP, live action role playing game? Oh, that's not my cup of tea. I played at this game con I went to I played in the Vampire LARP.
Yeah.
It was weird. I had fun doing it, but I don't know if I liked it. I didn't. Maybe I didn't like it enough to. I didn't like it enough to want to do it again. But that could be fun.
Because according to what you said about the river and rocks things, that's a LARP in some way.
Yeah.
Because you have nothing, no rolling dice, nothing. You just act, right?
Right, telling a story.
So that's a LARP.
Interactive
You start
storytelling.
like this. How you cannot like it? I mean, maybe the thing is, yeah, the down thing of the LARP is just like you might have newbies.
Yeah.
People will just feel like, oh, that could be fun. I will join you, right? And then they will just ruin the game.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you'd have to. I mean, for the Cthulhu, right? It was structured. There was dice rolling. There was paper. There were rules. You know.
Yeah.
There was. I still wanted to put theatrics into it. You know, but.
It totally makes sense. I will follow you 100% on that.
Yeah. But for a big Halloween LARP thing, that's not really my cup of tea. You know, I could definitely be an advisor. You can put in some ideas, but as far as being one of the organizers, no. So, but yeah, like, anyways, the final one after Magic was Cthulhu. Cthulhu was a big part of my life, and then the guy introduced me to Magic the Gathering. I started buying cards, and then for some reason, like, I had some really good cards, and he offered to this game designer friend. He offered to buy them from me. At at a time where I had no money, right? It was just like, oh, give me $100 for my box of cards, and he probably knew more than I did about their work. Being 30 and I'm 17 or 18. Big regret that I sold these cards. But he was like, give you this $100 for him. Yeah, fuck yeah, $100, you know. But later, when I was making money, I went to Seattle, where Wizards of the Coast is, right? And I was going for a job interview, right? I was dressed in like a suit and a tie. I was trying to find professional.
Result of the costs.
I was trying to.
You went there.
No, I didn't. I didn't put the two. I went there because my friend moved there. He was like, "Hey, I'm moving to Seattle to go to film school." This guy I met I met this guy at this party, and his name was Juan. And he was like, "Hey, in 2 weeks I'm going to Seattle." I just moved back from India, right? So I was kind of like in a state of, what do I do with my life? Yeah. Okay. I went to this party. I was working some temporary job. The manager of this job invited me to his house party. I went to his house party, met this guy who was a filmmaker. I was into filmmaking. He was like, I'm moving to Seattle in 2 weeks to become a filmmaker. We clicked instantly. We were talking. So why don't you come to Seattle too? I said, okay, I'll go. I had an aunt that lived in Tacoma, which is just south of Seattle, right? A little town below Seattle. So I called my aunt. I was like, hey, I want to move to Seattle. Can I stay at your place? She said, sure, come on over. Boom. I went to Tacoma. I knew nothing about this guy. Great guy. I needed to find a job. I started looking around for jobs in Seattle. Next to the place where I was having an interview, I was walking around and I saw this big fucking shop that said Wizards of the Coast Gaming Center. And I said, what the fuck is... And I had no intention of buying Magic cards, playing Magic cards, right? At this time, like, Magic was out of my life, right? And then I looked at the shop and I was like 20 years old at this time. And I was like, what the fuck is the Wizards of the Coast Gaming Center? So I said, okay, I want to go inside. I'm dressed in a suit, right, for my interview. Because I didn't know the city, so I always like to go to like the interview location like 2 hours early.
Yeah, but like everyone. I mean, if you are sane enough, you will go in advance, right? Yeah. Thank you.
So
Sweet. We double called the shop.
So Wizards of the Coast Gaming Center. I had to go inside. Right, I still had like an hour. I still had
if
an
you
hour.
didn't, I will punish you.
For sure. I mean, they had like you play Magic the Gathering at all?
Yeah, I did.
So you know
High school, all during my high school.
You know the Sarah Angel,
Yeah.
the white angel,
Yeah,
5 mana cost, 2 white, 3 colorless.
Maybe not all the details, but I know this one. Yeah.
They had a big sculpture of her on the entrance, on the window.
Nice.
Right? They had the Siobhan dragon hanging from the ceiling as you like go down. So I walk inside. Boom.
Nothing to bring you in.
no, you know, like so you there's a receptionist or reception area, right? Mm-hmm. Stairs that go down.
Down?
Yeah. So to your right, when you walk in, there's a game shop. It's all games, right? So they have all of the Wizards of the Coast games and plus whatever else.
Or even something else? Not only them?
There's a full game, big game shop.
Nice.
On the left side was like a diner. Gamer's diner. Nachos, burgers, pizza, whatever food you want.
Really?
Right? Right there, inside the shop, right? So then you walk down. Full of just tables, big old gaming tables. Okay? So you walk down. First thing you see is this gaming tables.
Downstairs,
right? In the dungeon. A bunch of like, people playing Magic, okay? To the very right, they had a huge arcade, right? Of classic arcade games. Okay? And then kind of like 3 o'clock.
Old machine and things like this.
What's that?
The old machine?
Old machine. And then 3 o'clock was like 35 computers all land up. So if you want to play like Doom, Quake, or whatever the hot computer games, Warcraft
you will never
one.
leave this shop.
Dude, I was just like, it was like
you have food, you have game. What do you need more?
It was like if you imagine like the kids going to like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah.
This was like Shady in the Game Factory. I was like, what is this place? And boom, like I was like, okay. I'm looking around.
You don't want to go to
Holy fuck! I gotta go for my interview.
Just go after. Quick.
So I went to the interview. I came back there. I didn't have money at the time, right? I was broke.
Yeah, bro.
And I called my dad. I said, Dad, I need. You would not imagine this place I just showed up to. Like, they're playing Magic here. They're playing video games.
They knew. I mean, your dad knew about your addiction to the board game.
I was not addicted to. I kind of like during this time, like when I went to India and I came back, board games, card games was kind of out of my life.
Okay.
Like after I sold my Magic cards to the.
So you didn't play
guy,
board games with your Iraqi people?
No, we played PlayStation.
Okay,
so it was kind of like it was done.
Okay.
Right. This was kind of like an injection.
Okay.
Of all that back inside, right? It was just like, I'm finished with it. Oh, no, you're not. A little bit of,
Look at that.
Wizards of the Coast morphine. Boom. Holy shit. And I'm, so I asked my dad, I said, Dad, I want to buy a box of Magic cards. Like a full box, like 36 boosters. It was like $120 or something at the time. And can you help me buy it? I was like, okay. Here's the money. Go buy yourself a box. So I bought the latest edition of whatever was in Magic. I started playing Magic there. I met some really good friends. And then eventually I ended up getting a very good job, very well-paying job for a 20-year-old.
From the interview you made, just
no,
before?
another interview,
Another
right?
one?
But in Seattle, right? So I was making good money for my age and my experience, right? I had very little experience working as a designer. So,
designer? Game designer?
No, just a graphic designer.
Okay,
so,
fair enough.
And
I like your style. I know that you can be good.
So I got this like apartment on the 3rd floor and I became friends with the manager of the building, and I went to his place, which was on like the top floor, second to top floor. It's like, wow, your apartment's so cool. He's like, yeah, it's great. You know, the next door to me is available if you want it. Let me show you. You know, so I go,
Just out there like this?
I go look at the next door place, and it was fucking the view of the Space Needle. You know, like the Seattle Space Needle, the water downtown.
Well, you didn't take this one in the first place.
Well, I didn't. It wasn't available at that time, and I wasn't friends with the manager, right?
No,
so
but I mean, the manager. I would take the other ones.
it wasn't available at the time, so I moved into the place, became friends with the manager. He used to come to my place to play PlayStation, hang out, right? We started hanging out, and then once a spot became available, I told him, I said, I want to move up. I love your place. When there's a spot available, tell me. He said, sure. So as soon as the apartment next door to him on the top floor came, boom.
You see what board games and games
bring people together, you know? So,
damn it.
And then at that point, I started building because I just moved to Seattle. I wasn't really hanging out with the filmmaker guy that introduced, that influenced me.
You didn't get a job from him or nothing?
Nothing.
Right?
He was going to film school. We were just friends, right? He was doing his own life. We didn't even hang out. We ended up not hanging out that much, just from time to time. I met all my friends at the Wizards of the Coast Gaming Center, you know. But I got this amazing apartment, and then it became just like a gamepad. It was basically a big table in front of the window with an amazing view of the city. My friends would come over, and a lot of them didn't have good jobs or wasn't working.
What year was about?
What's
like 19? What?
This was 2000.
2000 already?
Yeah. And then I just turned 21, so it was like 2000 to 2002, like 2-year period when I was living in Seattle. So I used to host. I had the best place, right, for gaming, and I love gaming.
I will just go there, even from Hong Kong.
You know, like, so we'd play Magic all night. We had the PlayStation 2 just came out. I had the PlayStation 2, big ass TV. You know, big ass TV. You know, like not like.
I mean, you're young. You get a well paid. You get a nice flat. You know. How are you gonna?
I had nothing. I had no dining table. It was basically like a sofa, a TV, PlayStation, and a gaming table.
You don't need a dining table.
You know?
You have a gaming table.
This is a gaming table. I used to go to work. So my friends would play all night. I would go to sleep. I'd wake up. They're still playing. I would go to work, and then come back home. They would still be at my house playing. Like it was like it was. I think like 6 of us guys, 7. So I think it was like 6 core guys, and then we had like 10.
I'm sure they were feeling so lucky to know you.
I was lucky to know them, you know. But we used to just play all night, this Magic. So and I started making money. So obviously, like Wizards of the Coast is from Seattle.
Yeah,
there are many game stores, many card shops. So I started buying all of the old cards. I got my whole collection that I had before back, you know, and I made like this amazing collection of Magic cards. I think my like Magic card collection now is probably like $30,000. I mean, in like 2 boxes, right?
Some Magic card can cost only 30,000.
I don't have any of those. I don't have the Power 9s. So I have everything but the Power 9. So I should have bought them back then when I was younger.
Yeah, but you couldn't know, right?
You know,
at this time you couldn't know.
But now I have
forgiven. That's okay.
But yeah. Well, the most recent one was 2 million.
Something.
Did you hear about that? Did you hear about that?
No, but I heard about like even more than 2 million. He was like 3 or 4 million something.
So it was bought by Post Malone, the hip hopper singer.
No.
So Post Malone is a American music artist, and he plays Magic. And I guess some kid in Canada, because Magic and Lord of the Rings, they made they made a set together. Yeah. So, but they just made 1 ring card. There can only be 1.
Oh yeah, but the ring.
The ring.
Yeah, the ring.
So they only made 1. So this kid in, I think Canada opened it, and then Post Malone bought it from him for like 2 million, or something around there. Like, from $3 to fucking $2 million in 24 hours.
The kids is smart.
He's lucky. I don't think it has anything to do with smarts.
I mean, playing games, you have to be lucky first, and then after to meet the games things, and then after you can evolve into it, and then grow up and be fully you. Like that. So I mean, I'm sure the kid with 2 million, he didn't fuck up the money as parents might do it actually, playing gambling or something, whatever.
Who knows?
I'm sure the kid did some wise.
You would hope so. You know, like I look back.
I want to believe so.
I look back at my time in Seattle, right? I wasted a lot of money. Like I was making, like if I look back, like fuck, like I should have bought property. I should have done this. I should have done that.
Okay.
You
that
know,
way. Okay.
You know, like I bought it on pizza and playing Magic, every day.
But the thing is, what you bought is also your freedom of thinking and creativity.
Oh, it's definitely value. Value of memories, value of friendship.
Exactly. But the thing is, all this memory, all these things you build up there, that's make who you are now.
Right.
If you didn't spend that money, let's say you just spend the money for the real estate, everything you said, maybe you will not be here. You will not be doing what you're doing here. Because you will be like peaceful there with your properties and doing nothing. And actually you might lose your talent. You might have lost everything you could have done here. You did 2 great games. We played it, and I like it.
You played both? No, you only played one.
I mean, I played once, but the other one you explained me enough that I feel I played it. Okay? And you have a team, you have a bookshop things, like, I mean, a book business that's working well, and also that's all your creativity talent, like graphic design and things like this. If you didn't waste this money into this, pizzas and things like this, you will not become what you are.
I was definitely, I can see that side.
Right? So that's not a waste. Be proud of it.
From a responsibility, financial background, you could consider it be a waste.
However, money is just money. So after you made it, look where you are. You don't need money anymore, right?
So I definitely need money.
I mean, we all need money, but the thing is,
it's not a priority.
Exactly. Right. Now is not a priority. But if you have this, like the real estate things, then it will become a priority. Then your life will be completely different. Right. And you will not be as happy as you could be now. I mean, you're doing podcast, I feel you're happy. So I'm sure if you were a real estate guy, you will not be as happy as now and be doing this podcast. Right? Right?
Yeah, maybe. Who knows?
I mean, you will have money, but maybe you will not be able to think about even talking about what you said. Maybe you will be like facing like you're a real estate guy. You need to show up and things like this to sell this property to someone and to be friend with maybe some celebrities and things like this. Your life will be so different. And actually, you will not be as you are.
Yeah, it could be. But I have to say thank you to you because, like, you know, before I moved to China, and because of all the influences that I just shared about my life with you, like, I had game designs, game ideas, you know, from very young age, like the pizza game.
Yep.
It's a game concept that got into my head after hanging out with this game designer and being in high school and going to these game cons and stuff like that. I didn't actually start making it until years later, almost like 10 years later. And then put it in full development, made it a very strong working prototype. And then when it came to China, I just totally stopped. You know, like I have a document on my computer of 18 game concepts that are in my head, you know. 3 I've made prototypes of. 1 fully developed, 2 half developed, and 3 early development, pre-alpha development.
But all on the same universe or different universe?
They're all in the same
universe.
Same universe, yeah. But very different. Three very different games.
Same universe.
Same universe.
You
Yeah.
built your D&D in some way.
Yeah, something like that.
You
built my world.
Yeah. Or Wizard of the Coast.
But going back to you is that like I kind of put that to. I stopped it totally. Like from developing it hardcore up until the day I moved to China, and then stopping cold. And then starting a new China life.
Yeah.
I don't want to say I lost myself, but I was just on a.
That was you.
There was a part of me that.
Yeah, but a big part.
It was a big part. And then meeting you, like slowly put that fire, back into my belly. I mean, like I saw that there was this fucking guy doing board game events.
How you? Me actually, I don't remember.
I think it was just like you were, we're in a lot of like chatting groups.
Yeah.
And I think I saw you posting
something about board games.
Something about board games,
okay.
Right? Okay. Like, oh, we're gonna play board games. Okay. I don't know. I don't remember exactly,
okay.
but it was
makes sense.
It was some event group or something.
Oh yeah, the food group, the foodie groups.
Could have been the food groups.
Foodie groups. Yeah.
So,
because I love food as well.
And then I added you. We started talking.
Yeah.
And then when I had the bar, I convinced you to come over to the bar.
Yeah.
And then we just kind of.
Yeah, because I just lost my location actually because they were just getting renovation.
What spot was it? Do you remember?
Yeah. It was in Shenzhen Palace in Shenzhen. It was like I don't remember the name exactly.
No, it doesn't matter.
Whatever.
It was at the perfect time to fucking invite you over.
Time. Yeah.
So
then I could swap for you.
Yeah.
Your bar. And people love it. I mean, we got a bunch of new people. Actually.
Also, I helped promote you guys too. I don't know if it made a difference. I mean,
I don't know. But the thing is, we got a very great time there, and people still refer our group of board games like the member group.
The member times.
Yeah, the member groups. Yeah. And because now we moved to another one since you close it, but the thing is still the member group.
Right.
The Tuesday member group.
Yeah, because I didn't actually get to go I didn't have the opportunity to spend so much time, playing with you guys. But it was still like a joyful thing that at least there's some part of me, some way, supporting gaming.
Yeah. But that was really I mean, if you didn't do that, I don't know where we had to end up somewhere.
I'm sure you would have found a place.
Yeah, but the thing is, it will be maybe a Chinese restaurant or something that will not allow us to play so late or for so few money in.
Right.
Because, I mean, to be frank, the programmers are not very generous, right?
Yeah, they don't spend.
So, they don't spend much because they are so focused on what they are doing.
Right.
They don't spend much. But so we have difficulties to find places.
Right.
So when we came out with this, it was benedictions. It was a board gamer, manager, owner, of the place, allow us to do that. Amazing. All right.
No, it was my pleasure.
Benedictions. So yeah, we did enjoy it a lot, and people enjoyed it a lot also. The food was great also, so everything was good. And then the fate of the COVID and things like this decided.
Yeah, fuck, dude. Cheers to that. So, but if it wasn't for you, definitely, man. I might have lost that passion for game design totally. Maybe not have lost it, but it definitely would have been. I mean, every day, every year, it gets buried deeper and deeper and deeper until someday it's become non-existent. And you helped me keep that fire, because at least I had one person to fucking send a message to and be like, blah 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 blah. I designed this game. Let me show you some cards. Blah, blah, have someone that to feedback with me.
Personally, I feel like you don't do it enough often.
Well,
you can do it even often than what you do.
So
Right. Because mostly you are so focused on your book games. Book business.
I wish it was book games.
That's, you can send me more message about this because actually I didn't know about your new cards for the new games. You just came out for now.
Oh,
right? So, no. I mean, definitely. Just go for it.
Cheers, man.
I'm happy I helped a little bit.
You definitely kept the fire alive, and I appreciate that. So
I'm proud of it. I'm very glad. I mean, I couldn't hope more.
someday, I mean, one of my dreams, and I think it's also one of your dreams too. I think you're more living that dream than me, but before I die and leave this world, I would like to have a board game company. So a real game company with published games.
I already have it.
I know, that's why I said you have this. You already have this dream accomplished. You're more living it than me, but
Yeah.
but
Yeah, to be frank, the board game company I think is what you dream of is a board game company who publish board games, right? And for now, I don't.
That what?
Published board
Oh,
games.
published, yes.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
For now, I'm living like services
Right.
about board games. Yeah. I still develop board games. I do for companies.
Mm-hmm.
I do for people who ask me for. But my own one, is not done yet. So we are equal.
We're still on that path.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still on that path. And that will be happen hopefully soon.
Let's do it, man. For me, 2025,
Yeah.
I want to have my first game published. That's my goal.
I hear that. And if I can help you on that, I will.
Definitely. There's lots of chances. From playtesting to advisory to whatever. All right. Anyways, we're out, dude. We're done. One last fucking cheers.
Okay. That was nice.
Beautiful gin. Beautiful talk.
Almost convinced me to buy more gins.
The Raspberry Gin, Oriental Distillery.
Nice. Simple, but very nice.
Appreciate you coming out.
Yeah. Thanks, Shady, for inviting.
We're out. Cheers.